Today we begin an exciting journey from Puno to Cusco, a route filled with history, culture, and breathtaking landscapes of the... Our first stop is the Museo Litico de Pucara, and then we visit a Inca village. Museo Litico de Pucara is a fascinating archaeological site that takes us back thousands of years. This museum is home to the legacy of the Pucara civilization, one of the earliest complex societies in the Andean highlands, long before the rise of the Inca Empire. As we walk through the site, we're surrounded by ancient stone sculptures, ceremonial artifacts, and intricate carvings. One of the most iconic figures here is the Torito de Pucara, a symbol of protection, prosperity, and Andean tradition that you'll still see on rooftops across the region today. This place isn't just a museum. It's a window into a civilization that shaped the cultural foundations of the Andes. Let's explore and uncover the stories hidden in these stones. The stone artifacts at Museo Litico de Pucara don't contain written language like inscriptions or texts. Instead, they communicate through symbolism, iconography, and form, a visual language used by the ancient Pucara civilization. Approximately equal to 500 BCE, 200 CE, many sculptures depict human-like figures with exaggerated features, large heads, pronounced eyes, and rigid postures. These likely represent priests, elites, or deities. The stylized faces suggest supernatural awareness or connection to other realms. Some figures hold objects, staffs, heads, indicating ritual roles or authority. Certain carvings show figures holding severed heads, trophy heads, or ritual items. This is a strong indicator of ceremonial sacrifice or ancestor worship. In Andean cosmology, sacrifice was tied to fertility, rain, and cosmic balance. Some stones feature abstract carvings and geometric motifs. These may represent agricultural cycles, water flow, or cosmic order. The precision suggests knowledge of environmental rhythms and planning. As we move toward the pottery, we see another side of this civilization. These ceramics were part of everyday life, used for storing food, carrying water, and preparing meals. But they were never just functional. Many are decorated with human faces, animals, and intricate patterns, revealing deep cultural and spiritual meaning. Some of these vessels were used in rituals and ceremonies, possibly to hold offerings or traditional drinks like chicha. The chicana is a stepped cross symbol deeply rooted in Andean cosmology. While it's strongly associated with later Inca culture, its origins go back to pre-Inca civilizations like Pucara, which is why you see similar motifs in this museum. Let's hear to this explanation.
At the park, you can see here these 3 steps. These are the 3 secret animals: condor, puma, and snake. The other 3 on the bottom part, this is earth, heaven, and these underground worlds. Now, left side, these 3 steps are the 3 types of work that the Incas had. Aini is reciprocity, so they help each other. Aini. But when a community, when they decided the construction of a suspension bridge, so all the people that live in that community, they have to work because it was for them. It was called Minca, that worked for that community. But when the Inca, as a king, when he ordered the construction of a place like Machu Picchu, so the people from the different regions, they have to work. And it was called Mita, that worked for the Inca state. So it's Aini, reciprocity, Minca, that worked for the community, and Mita, that worked for the Inca state. And these last 3 are the 3 rules that the Incas had. Munay, which means to love, Yangay, to work, and Yachay, to teach. So the Yachay Wasi, for the Incas, was the house of knowledge, by the schools. Yeah. The only difference between an Incas and pre-Incas Chacana is that Incas Chacana, most of the times it has a circle, like a hole in the middle, this Pachamama, okay? Mother Earth, okay?
The Pucara civilization was one of the earliest cultures in the Andes, thriving near Lake Titicaca thousands of years ago. While we don't have written records, their art suggests they practiced powerful rituals, possibly including sacrifice. The carved trophy heads we see in their sculptures may represent offerings to the gods, reflecting a belief that life, nature, and the cosmos were all deeply connected. The Pucara civilization practiced sacrifice as a way to stay connected to the natural and spiritual world. High in the Andes, survival depended on rainfall, fertile land, and harmony with powerful forces like mountains and rivers. Through ritual offerings, the Pucara sought protection, cosmic balance, and renewal, demonstrating both their spiritual beliefs and social organization. After exploring the ancient legacy of Pucara, we now arrive at Templo Santa Isabel, a beautiful colonial-era church in Cusco. Built during the Spanish period, this church blends European Baroque architecture with subtle local Andean influences, reflecting the cultural fusion that occurred after the conquest. Inside, you can see ornate altars, gilded woodwork, and vibrant religious art, offering a glimpse into centuries of devotion. Templo Santa Isabel isn't just a place of worship, it's a living reminder of Cusco's layered history, where the traditions of the Andes meet the influences of colonial Spain. As we walk through its halls, it's fascinating to imagine how ancient beliefs and Christian practices merged, creating the unique spiritual landscape of Cusco we see today. Cusco was once the heart of the Inca Empire, a city rich in Andean culture, religion, and architecture. In the 16th century, the Spanish conquistadors arrived, bringing with them Christianity and European colonial rule. The Spanish sought to replace the indigenous religion with Catholicism, often building churches and cathedrals directly on top of Inca temples and sacred sites. This was both a religious and political strategy, demonstrating control over the land and its people. Christianity was blended with local traditions over time. Indigenous symbols, rituals, and artistic styles were subtly incorporated into churches, paintings, and festivals. This fusion created a unique Andean Christian culture, still visible today in Cusco's churches, plazas, and celebrations. Visiting places like Templo Santa Isabel, you can see how European Baroque architecture and Catholic iconography coexist with traces of Andean influence, a visual reminder of the region's complex history of conquest, adaptation, and cultural resilience. Next, we head to Raqchi, an extraordinary archaeological site located along the route to Cusco. This site was a major center during the Inca Empire, dedicated to the worship of Viracocha, one of the most important deities in Inca mythology. The highlight of Raqchi is the Temple of Viracocha, an immense rectangular structure with thick stone walls and thatched roof foundations, unlike any other Inca temple we've seen. Surrounding it are storage buildings, residential quarters, and ceremonial spaces, showing how Raqchi functioned as both a religious and administrative hub. Walking through Raqchi, it's easy to imagine the scale and sophistication of Inca engineering and architecture, as well as the spiritual significance this site held for the people of the empire. This stop offers a fascinating glimpse into how the Incas combined devotion, administration, and community life into a single, monumental complex. Surrounding it are rows of circular stone structures, which were food storehouses called kulkas, used to store grains, potatoes, and other crops. These circular granaries highlight the Incas' advanced agricultural management and planning, ensuring food security for the local population and travelers along the empire's road network. The people who lived and worked at Raqchi relied heavily on high-altitude agriculture, adapted to the harsh Andes environment. They built agricultural terraces, andines, on hillsides to prevent erosion, retain water, and create microclimates for different crops. This allowed them to maximize arable land in steep terrain. They grew staple crops like potatoes, maize, quinoa, and beans, which could survive cold nights and variable rainfall. Storage in the circular quilcas ensured they had food throughout the year, even during droughts or poor harvests. Advanced irrigation canals distributed water efficiently from nearby rivers or springs. Water management was critical in high-altitude zones with limited rainfall. Food production was carefully organized to support temples, workers, and travelers along the Inca road network. The system shows the integration of agriculture with social, religious, and administrative life. Archaeological descriptions do note a wall surrounding much of the Raqchi complex, which likely served defensive, organizational, and symbolic purposes. This wall, combined with the high ground and even a moat in places, made the site easier to control and protect. However, according to locals and archaeological evidence, people were segregated by class, with elites inside and workers outside. However, this is not being proved by archaeologists. Participants in the temple, priests and officials, did have dedicated residential areas near the temple, while other buildings were more utilitarian in function, but the evidence points to a complex urban layout, rather than a sharply divided elite worker bubble separated by a strict wall line. The wall along the high mountains are mostly for the purpose of safety. In Inca history, it was mentioned that when they conquered a region, their signature is building a food storage. This informs the people that Inca conquers the village. As we stand in Raqchi, it's hard to imagine that this once thriving Inca center was eventually abandoned. In the early 16th century, the arrival of the Spanish conquistadors changed everything. Led by Francisco Pizarro, the Spanish entered the Andes during a time when the Inca civilization was already weakened by internal conflict and disease. As Spanish forces advanced toward Cusco, the heart of the empire, many important sites like Raqchi were gradually abandoned. The Inca were forced to retreat, reorganize, or were displaced entirely as Spanish control expanded across the region. With colonization came a dramatic transformation. The Spanish imposed Christianity, new systems of governance, and a colonial economy. Indigenous religious centers lost their original purpose. and in many places churches were built over or near sacred Inca sites, symbolizing both spiritual and political conquest. Over time, the Inca way of life was reshaped. Some traditions disappeared, while others survived by blending with Christianity, creating the unique cultural identity we still see in the Andes today. Raqchi, once a vibrant center of worship and administration, became a silent witness to this turning point in history, marking the transition from the Inca world to Spanish colonial rule. After an incredible journey from Puno, we are finally heading toward Cusco. This route took us nearly 12 hours, filled with exploration, history, and unforgettable landscapes. From the ancient legacy of Pucara to the impressive Inca site of Raqchi, every stop along the way revealed a different layer of Andean civilization. This wasn't just a journey between two cities. It was a journey through time, tracing the stories of cultures that shaped this region for thousands of years. And now, we arrive at Cusco, once the heart of the Inca Empire. Starting tomorrow, we'll be exploring this historic city, its streets, its culture, and the incredible remnants of its past.